What's going on, guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today I just wanted to make a quick video about the all-new Nintendo Switch Lite. Now, I recently picked one up. I actually got it on release day. I've been using it a lot, and I really love this unit. So in this video, I just want to give you my opinion on the new Nintendo Switch Lite, why I like it so much, why I'd prefer this over the original Nintendo Switch. I'm also going to go over the specs, and then we'll get into a little bit of gameplay. So obviously, the Nintendo Switch Lite has been released. You can purchase it right now. They're going for $199 everywhere online. I'll leave some links to Amazon in the description. So as you can see, it's much smaller than the original Nintendo Switch, and this is meant to be a dedicated handheld device, which means you cannot dock this. It will not do HDMI out through the USB Type-C connection. I have tested it. I've always seen the Nintendo Switch as a really great handheld device. I personally haven't docked mine that much since I owned it, and I purchased this the day it came out. So for me, to see a lighter, smaller, and easier to carry version is a big plus. I really love the Switch Lite. I actually prefer it over the original Switch. As of making this video, the new Switch Lite comes in 3 different colors: turquoise, yellow, gray, and on November 8th, we're getting the Pokemon Sword and Shield edition, and this is one that I really want to pick up. And I can guarantee you there will be more special editions. That's just what Nintendo does. As for the specs, we get a 5.5-inch 720 display, the Tegra X1 chip, 4GB of RAM, 32GB of internal storage, plus a micro SD card slot, good up to 2TB. 802.11ab GN and AC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.1, and NFC for the Amiibos. Stereo speakers, 3.5mm audio jack, and it has a 13.6 watt-hour battery. Nintendo claims 3 to 7 hours of runtime, and this really depends on how bright you have the screen and which game you're playing. The Nintendo Switch Lite is a dedicated handheld. You will not get TV mode, no tabletop mode, there's no kickstand built in, and no motion controls or HD rumble. In fact, it has no rumble built in whatsoever. I have tried to dock this with a USB Type-C to HDMI connector. It will not work. The chip is missing from the board itself, so it will not do HDMI out through the USB Type-C connection. So here it is. It's actually a lot smaller than the original Nintendo Switch. I personally really like the feel of this thing. The D-pad, the analog sticks, and the buttons are great. They will take a little bit of getting used to. On the top here, we have our power button, volume rocker, our vent for the CPU fan, 3.5mm audio jack, and our game card slot. On the bottom here, we have our dual stereo speakers, USB Type-C for charging or connecting USB devices, and our micro SD card slot. Yes, you can connect wired or wireless controllers to the Switch Lite. So when they say no tabletop mode, I guess they really refer to how the original Nintendo Switch did it with the detachable Joy-Cons and the kickstand on the back. We also have a real D-pad on the Lite version as opposed to the separated buttons. This D-pad is a little bit low in my opinion. It does take some time to get used to it, but it's very accurate and it works really well on this thin unit. It's much lighter than the original Switch, and in my opinion, it's a lot easier to hold, handle, and carry around with you. One thing I noticed with the original Nintendo Switch was hand cramping. Now, when I was playing for a few hours, I would get cramped up, but last night I played this for 5 hours straight, and I had no problems at all. Should you pick up a Nintendo Switch Lite if you already have the original Nintendo Switch? In my opinion, I think it's worth it. Now, I've owned the original Nintendo Switch since it was released, and I've only docked it a handful of times, maybe 3 hours of gameplay on a TV. So for me, having a lighter, smaller unit that's easier to handle is a big plus. And in the time that I've had the Switch Lite, I personally like using this over the original Switch. It's just my opinion, but I've always seen the Switch as a dedicated handheld unit, and we finally have one. In my experience, in handheld mode, the Nintendo Switch Lite has had the exact same performance as the original Nintendo Switch. Now, there are a few games that do require like the Joy-Cons to be detachable that may have issues with this, like 1-2 Switch, Ring Fit Adventure, and the Nintendo Labo accessories won't work with the Switch Lite. But other than that issue, everything that I've tested on the Nintendo Switch Lite has performed exactly the same. I'd like to show you some gameplay from Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild, but Nintendo kind of hates you showing their games on YouTube. It's a little absurd, but either way, I got a few games here that I still like playing, like Sonic Mania, which isn't a super hard game to run, but it does give you an idea of how good this D-pad is. I personally don't play Fortnite myself, but my kids love it, and the Switch Lite handles it fine. It's only going to run at 720p, 30 FPS, but it's perfectly playable on the Lite version. And I'm really excited about Overwatch coming to the Switch. I'll definitely be using the Switch Lite for that. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Hopefully it's running at 60, but I got a feeling it's only going to be running at 30 FPS. Either way, it should be a fun experience in handheld mode. And if you do have Nintendo Switch Online, you'll have access to the NES games and the recently released SNES games. With the SNES titles, I think they chose some really good games here. Unfortunately, just like the Switch games, I can't show you a proprietary Nintendo game, but here we have Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics. The original Joe and Mac is one of my favorite SNES games. I wish they would have added that, but I think Part 2 will have to do. So overall, I think the Nintendo Switch Lite is a great addition to the Switch family. It's well worth $199 in my opinion. If you're looking for something a little more portable and you don't need that HDMI out or dock mode, the Switch Lite is definitely the best choice. But if you're a big fan of playing on a big screen and you definitely want to use those motion controls for some of the games that the Switch has in its library, then you might want to go with the original Switch. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. I just wanted to give you my quick take on the new Nintendo Switch Lite. Love the form factor, performance is great, and I think the price is spot on. I will leave links in the description to Amazon if you're interested in picking one up. But remember, on November 8th, the Sword and Shield version will release. It's going to be the same price at $199, and I think it looks a lot better than the yellow, gray, or turquoise that's currently available in the Switch Lite lineup. It'd be really cool if you could hit that like button or maybe subscribe to the channel. But like always, thanks for watching.